with my computer decided the printer has not worked for over a week and it's now printing. I don't know what. So I apologize for the sound. And I can, can we mute that? Jill, can you mute?
Sorry, I'm trying to get my lights on here.
Okay, so anyway, welcome to Live with Joan. And we are here with a special guest. But before I talk to the special guest, I just want to introduce myself. If this is the first time you're meeting me and I'm turning my printer off. It's going to drive me crazy. So my name is Joan Ranquet. I'm an animal communicator, author, and founder of Communication with All Life University. And tomorrow we have the spring version of Animal Communication Level 1 starting. And I won't be teaching that again until the fall. So if you are still interested in joining, you can email at assist@joanranquet.com and get in the class, or to text Claudia here on this thread. Is there a thread here? Anyway, so I'd love to see who all is here. It'd be fun for people to say hi. And let's see, what else? We've got the energy healing for animals coming up in May 28th. We've got animal communication intro to death, dying, and beyond in June. And we've got finding lost animals with animal communication in July. We also have an acupressure class coming up with Jill, and we have an energetic anatomy class and more, which I'll tell more in a bit. So anyway, I wanted to also talk about a little bit about how much people are going through things right now. And so we may be adding some tapping into this. We may be doing some other things on Thursdays. I'm thinking. And if there's something that you want, that would be great. And then also I have to announce the new book. The new book is called Beautiful Gym Key. And so that is do you have a copy of the book, Claudia? Okay, Beautiful Gym Key. And it's actually an amazing story of a horse, but this guy had been, I think he'd been a slave, and then he became a veterinarian, and he traveled the world, or the country, at another time when people really needed hope. And anyway, it's a very inspiring story. It's really kind of the origins of the ASPCA. So it's got a really big history. It's a true story. It's amazing. So who all is here, Claudia?
Good morning, everybody. So we have got Michelle Schumann says hello. Selena Brown, hello. A Facebook user says hello. Jana Marie, I think you're the only one that can't see us. So you might want to refresh your page. Cindy Gans Turner says hello, everyone. Hi, Cindy. Bonnie Park says hi. Julie Webb says good morning. And
good morning.
Good morning, everybody. And I will mute and unmute us as we go so that there's no conflicting sound. Paula Wheeler says hi.
Hi, Paula. Okay, good. Well, welcome everybody. And there's Chris, and I owe you an email, Chris. So anyway, I want to introduce my special guest. I have Jill Todd, Dr. Jill Todd, and she's been an old friend of mine and kept my, when I lived in the Seattle area, she kept my older dog going with some of the modalities we're going to talk about here in a minute. She's had she's a holistic vet, and she's actually doing online appointments now, but I want to welcome Jill.
Hi, Joan. Hi, Claudia. Good morning. Thank you.
Look, we're wearing a similar color.
I know. I got my pink on. And Bixby Elizabeth wanted to say hi, too.
Hi.
She would like to take a nap now.
Okay. Yeah, that's funny. We're all three wearing a similar color.
That's because it's my
I didn't even notice. I'm like, oh my God, look
grandmother's
at that.
birthday.
Hi.
Okay, so anyway, what I wanted to talk a lot about the modalities that you do, because I really think that today the theme in the Live with Joan is energy healing, and I really think that the origin, or is that a bad feedback, Claudia? That was horrible sound. What was that?
Keep going.
Anyway, okay. So what they say that some of course, the hands-on healing, the original hands-on healing, they say was Christ, and even before Jesus was, John the Baptist was a big hands-on healer. But the other thing that we know 6,000 years ago was acupuncture was created and developed and implemented by Chinese doctors. And so I think of it as one of the original energy healing modalities. And so I wanted to bring Jill on to talk about energy and energy medicine with animals. And just start, though, with what made you want to become a vet, Jill?
Well, I always wanted to be a vet when I was a little girl. I always said I wanted to become a vegetarian because I didn't know the difference between a vegetarian and a veterinarian. And then I finally figured out that a veterinarian was an animal doctor. But I would rescue little robin's eggs that fell out of nests. And I had a dog that would chew on turtles, and I would rescue these turtles and bring them back to health and then set them back in the wild. And I mean, all I did was play with my animals and anything that was in the wild that would hold still enough for me to try and help. That's all I wanted to do.
And so what made you then eventually go into acupuncture?
After I completed my DVM and I bought my own practice, I had my best dog in the world, Tally Ho, had a back injury, and we did an MRI on her. We did back surgery, and she never got better. I found an acupuncturist that was near me at the time. I was living in San Marcos, and she was in Austin. And I went up there, and she was certified in acupuncture, Chinese herbs, chiropractic. She was an oncological surgeon, just board certified in everything. And she taught me these points, and she drew a little map, and she gave me a box of needles, and she gave me some references, some books. And she said, okay, do these points 3 times a week for 2 weeks. Then do these points twice a week for 2 weeks. And then, let me know how it's going. In 2 weeks, Tally Ho could stand up. 4 weeks, she was walking. 6 weeks, she was going up and down the steps and running. And she was back to her senior dog moments again. I mean, obviously she wasn't a puppy again, but she was back to where she was, probably a year or two previously before her back injury. And I realized at that time that I didn't know what I was doing. I was hitting these acupuncture points that was on this map, but I had no clue. And that I needed to go back to school and become a certified acupuncturist. So Tally Ho was my calling.
That's awesome. So you do acupuncture on animals regularly. Tell me about that.
Sorry, you clicked out and I didn't hear the beginning of the question.
Oh, so you went to school and you became an acupuncturist, and now you work on a lot of animals. What are the sorts of things? Tell me about what it helps, what you do with it.
For acupuncture? Well, it started out that I was really doing more senior animals and orthopedic and neurologic issues. And now, as my acupuncture has evolved and I've added some other modalities to it as well, using it for internal medicine as well as behavior, use it for a lot of end-of-life issues, just everything from brain, body, emotions, aura. Every day I'm learning more about healing with energy and how acupuncture is one of the best modalities in the world.
And you talk about behavior. What would make acupuncture help with behavior?
I'm sorry, you clicked out again. I couldn't understand it.
What would help how would acupuncture help with behavior?
Oh, well, behavior has a realm of things. So anxiety, fear, aggression, when you have biting issues, when you have a lot of what I call PTSD issues. So basically you're helping with the brain. You're also helping to get them out from under a lot of issues, like I said, kind of PTSD thing, but you're also helping with the owner. Many times there's issues with fear in the owner and fear in the animal, or the animal is guarding the owner. I mean, each individual situation is a little bit different. So you really have to kind of have a lot of history. There's not really kind of one needle fits all type of answer. But I would say the majority of it is working with the brain and anxiety, because there's usually some anxiety issues, whether it's all animal or animal and person together.
So maybe you could explain to me how acupuncture works.
So acupuncture is puncture in an acupuncture point with a needle. Doink. I can get a needle and show you if you want. And what that is, a specific point which opens a specific channel or a specific meridian. There's certain points that are stronger than others, like they're your ting points, which are at the edges of your toenails, or the edges of your animal's toenails, the edges of their tail tip, which are really strong. Sometimes with animals, those are a little bit what I call caution points, because they're very sensitive and I can't put a needle there, but I can put a needle a little bit further up. So it just depends where I can access them and where they are open to me accessing them. I like to use the bladder meridian a lot, kind of like your bladder meridian sweep that you have in your book. I like to use that as an example, because so many people have read your book and understand what the bladder sweep is. Well, the bladder sweep is basically opening the bladder meridian. And I do that with an acupuncture or a chiropractic tool first, open that bladder meridian, and then that bladder meridian is open to communication. So then I can use points along the bladder meridian, or I can use other points off of the bladder meridian depending on what I'm focusing on. Does that answer the question?
Yeah. So basically, the needles are communicating to the body to awaken it or calm it down, or so it's a communication to the body.
They can either stimulate the body, release energy, and let that energy go. So it can be as far as detoxifying, where you're opening channels to let things out, or you can be adding energy in when energy needs to be added. So it just depends. It can be tonifying or sedating.
That's really cool. And then different animals have different personalities. There's kind of a profile in Chinese medicine, right?
Exactly. I mean, and I always feel weird saying the word personality, because that seems like that should be a human, but you go back to like your 5 elements, where you have your earth, your fire. Every animal and every human has those 5 elements, back to the traditional Chinese veterinary medicine or traditional Chinese medicine. And it all goes back to the planet, the 5 elements, and then you also have the elements amongst the elements, as far as your mother and your father and your grandmother. So I mean, it's Chinese medicine is so vast. I don't even know it all. I try and I study more and more, and every day I learn more. Sometimes I wish that I started in Chinese medicine, because I think I would understand it. And I wish I understood Chinese language, because the Chinese language is so intricate. The word qi actually means like 3 or 4 different things in Chinese. Whereas in America, we simplify it into like essential energy.
Right. So also you use other modalities. I know that you use, tell me the difference between like the traditional chiropractor and the type of chiropractic you do. You're a chiropractitioner. Tell me about that.
So I studied chiropractics from a guy named T-Bone Buchanan, which was old, what I call whack-em and sack-em, long bone, which had some very good results, but you could also have some injuries, especially with older animals. So the long bone traditional type of chiropractic is something that I kind of shy away from. I will use it if needed, but I really like using the activator. I think the activator opens the spine. You start at the atlanto-occipital bone, so you're opening the brainstem to the neck, and you're working your way down the neck to the lumbar, to the sacrum, even to the caudal vertebra. And then if you need to open other joints, you can, but that's just a good way to start. With older animals, unless they have like a broken vertebra, you can't do any harm with this. And even if it's broken, you'd really have a hard time doing harm. And if you have a broken back, I mean, you shouldn't be putting this on it anyway, right? But to me, it does no harm. Two, it's very subtle, but it opens up the whole spine so that the rest of the spine can communicate with each other. Because so many animals, humans as well, have these subluxations where it's twisted or there's scar tissue and there's just no communication. So it's just opening that whole spine so that each element can communicate with the other elements, especially with quadrupeds. The front isn't communicating with the back sometimes, or you have the right rear isn't communicating with the front rear or with the brain.
And also you would have that misfiring if there was an old injury, and then you have a compensation pattern.
Right. And many times you get readings with the activator where I can tell that there's an issue over the mid back or over the lower back, and then we'll concentrate more on it. So not only does it open the spine, but it also tells you where to go next.
Very cool. I love acupuncture, and I love doing that. I actually want one of those things. I wish I had one right now, because I would be like, one of my trips years ago. Yeah. Well, you can get your boyfriend to do it for you.
Yeah.
So I was on a trip a million years ago. The first time I took people to the White Lions, okay, it was only 5 years ago. And we were in South Africa, and it was a really long trip. We did the White Lions, and we went to an elephant park, north of Port Elizabeth, and then we did this long trek down what's called the Garden Route from basically Port Elizabeth to Cape Town. It was beautiful. It was fantastic, but we all had been in a van for days. And thankfully, one of my chiropractor friends was with us, and she had that activator thing. And every day, standing in line to go up to the top of that mountain in Cape Town, where you're overlooking everything, you're all like, oh, here, here, here. So I love that thing. And I've watched my own animals love it when you do it to them, because I've seen you do it to just about everyone here. So what are you able to do now? And also you use a cold laser, which is similar to my Rife machine, which is, let's talk about the frequencies that a cold laser has, because that's another wonderful way to get healing to the animals. And I'm just noticing that Michael Hofferberg is on, and he's in Kirkland or Juanita. He's in your hood anyway. So tell me about the frequencies of the cold laser.
So I use the Erconia lasers. There's lots of different cold lasers, and the reason I picked Erconia cold laser is because it's frequency specific. And the frequency specification is their claim to fame, but I can put in a number, and it goes up to hundreds of thousands, and it goes specifically to a specific cell, either of an organ or of a part of the body, goes to that area, tells the DNA and RNA to replicate and increase healing at the cellular level. There's lots and lots of numbers. I have specific numbers that I use quite frequently. I even have one, I call it my dummy proof, that any veterinary assistant or a chimpanzee could use. It's like dog, inflammation, go. And it goes for 3 minutes, and then it says go again. And I love that one because I can use it while I'm putting needles in at the same time, and I don't have to really think about it. My older unit, I have to actually program in the numbers, which is great. I love that one. It actually is a nicer unit because the battery lasts longer. So when I'm out in the field, it just stays with me a long time. But it's a little bit cumbersome because you have to kind of hold it and hold your two wands. You can see it in the background. It's got the little wand holder, which is nice when I'm in my office. Like I'll just put it on my dogs while I'm doing my yoga, or I'll put it on myself while I'm doing my yoga, which is more fun. But the specificity of the laser just makes it that much more exacting what you want to do. I mean, I've got special numbers that I can use for MRSA with the purple violet light. I've got numbers I can use for internal medicine things, for like the thyroid, for the kidney. I can actually tone it up, tone it down. I've got specific frequencies that I can use for your immune system to help not only with the spleen, but the thymus, but just the immunity in general. So especially during like these COVID times, for animals and for humans, it's just fabulous. I use it on myself almost every day.
Didn't we break even because we had wine and then did the facelift frequency?
Forgot about the facelift, but it has great skin settings. And yes, I have the facelift settings, and I need to do it again because, you know, you have to keep after there's the whole maintenance thing. But those are the same settings I'll use for like a dermatitis on an animal, or the same settings that I'll use for a wound. As a matter of fact, Olive Oil has a big wound on her butt where Vixie Elizabeth bit her last night, and I had to put staples in it. So she's going to get lasered later today, just because she's on CBD and she needs a little laser too.
Yes, Claudia.
Okay, so I'm sorry, I'm laughing. I just want to say, Bayari Mirabreeze says, lovely to hear about the cold laser. I trained in it in Australia for stopping smoking, but then my boss had to close the clinic. And then Cindy Gans Turner, right after you said about the facelift, says, please send that thing to me.
If you do it with wine, then you just kind of break even. You have to do it on a day when you're drinking like green drinks or something. But anyway, so let's see. I wanted to actually then ask you, because you do all these things and you have all these things, and people are coming to your house and you're doing social distancing treatments. But what are you doing as far as veterinary phone sessions and acupressure?
Well, since COVID times, and actually even before then, because thank you very much, Joan. Joan tried to get me to do a lot of virtual thing years and years ago, and I was to that mindset like, veterinarians can't work virtually. What is that bull crap, right? Yes, they can. And now, thank you, Joan. 10 years later, I figured it out. You can teach so many things, and people are willing to learn, and they want to learn. I mean, so many people do want to help heal their animal. They do want to help learn acupressure. They do want to help learn meridian opening and massage their dog. And not only are they massaging their dog, but they're helping with their animal-human bond, and it's making them feel better. It's a good anti-anxiety thing at the end of the day for them to sit down and massage their dog. So I'm going through and I'm teaching acupressure. I'm teaching meridian healing. Also teaching individual classes on nutrition, as far as people don't want to eat some of this crappy food that's out there and their vet is recommending Hill's Science Diet or whatever the case may be. But they still want a veterinary recommendation, because if their doctor said you should feed Hill's CD, they're like, well, who is who to tell me not to? Because the pet store people say you should feed raw. And it's like, wow, there's a veterinarian that says raw is good, raw is okay, you know? So nutrition is one of the things I'm teaching, helping people with vaccines, all these veterinarians that want to vaccinate. So saying it's okay to not vaccinate. It's okay for your older animal to never have a vaccine again. Your cat doesn't even go outside. Does it really need all these vaccines? Also, just holistic consults, people who want to go a little bit more Eastern medicine, who want to learn about Chinese medicine, or just do more herbs and less medications. Let's get animals off these harsh medications. Some people are wanting to learn about nutraceuticals. Some people are wanting to learn more about chakras. They know about chakras in people. They do yoga, and they do Eastern training as far as martial arts, and they would like to learn more and work their animal into it. And then, of course, like we said earlier, is training. Right now, with everyone in this area kind of under lockdown, we have a lot of anxious animals. We have a lot of anxious people. So trying to learn what is the key or the point or what's going on that's causing the anxiety. Is it the person? Is it the animal? Is it both? Teaching people about exercise and nutrition and how important that is for anxiety. And if you can't get out of the house because it's raining, yes, you can still play inside. You can still stimulate. You can still do a lot of things that are exercise. Or if your animal's injured, then you have limited exercise. So there's some PT we could do. I mean, there's so many things, and every day I'm learning more things that I can do because it's things that I know and I've been teaching for years and years, and I just never thought how to teach it virtually. So it's a little concept, but really fun.
So aside from teaching, though, they can also get a consult with you and learn some of these things, but have a health, that you could look at blood work with them. You could look at a lot of things with them. So they could go get blood work from a Western medicine vet and still get a consult with you and do an overall, like, here's what we should look at for food. Here's what we should look at for diet, for exercise, what other modalities might work while I can't get to you, things like that, right?
Exactly. And it's a process. I have so many people, dogs and cats alike, with the peeing in the house, right? And they're like, okay, can we fix this? And it's like, well, first of all, I want to see a urinalysis, right? Because I can talk till I'm blue in the face about peeing in the house. I'm not going to be able to answer your question until I know a little bit more about why your animal is peeing. Is it stress, or is there a physical reason? I want blood work. I want urinalysis. And if you don't have those, I can talk about some things in generalities. But then when push comes to shove, if it's not getting better, you need to go see your Western vet. You need to get blood work. You need to get a UA. And then we can talk about the specifics of it.
But I will say, having had a cat that was peeing out of the box because of cystitis and the potential for crystals and all of that, between the acupuncture and the cold laser, you knocked that out, like, I think 3 times. Yeah,
we had a couple sessions, and Henry was like miraculously cured. He's my boyfriend.
Yeah. Hey, get in line.
I know.
So those are all really great things. And then, of course, so we'll be announcing, first of all, I want to share that we will be coming out end of May with a class, digital class called Energetic Anatomy. And we go into, Jill goes into the bones, the organs, a little bit about systems, and we go into chakras. I talk about chakras. She talks about meridians. Claudia shot it over a year ago. Is there anything else? It's really fun. And fun. Jill cusses a lot.
I say a few bad words.
I had to go back to editing.
Yeah. So that's coming out. And then also for my school, and then we'll open up another version of it. We're going to do an acupressure class. May 23rd, I think, anyway, we've got dates for that. So end of May, there's going to be some digital and live courses coming out between Jill and Joan. And then also, we started a company a while ago, and we had to do a reorg and a facelift and a butt lift, and we're lifting everything up. And we're about to come out with Jill and Joan.
Yeah.
Hemp, so we've got a whole, we can't say CBD anymore, so we're hemp girl. Yeah. So we've got, as early as by this time next week, we will have the hemp pellets for horses, dogs, cats, pigs, sheep. I mean, Marie Christine has her cats eating it. Claudia has her children and her husband eating it. And then we'll have the dog chews, and then we will shortly have oils and creams. Uh-oh, we lost Jill.
Jill, you're back?
I'm back.
Okay.
I think it just glitched out for a second.
Okay, so anyway, yeah, we've got a lot of stuff coming. Yes, Claudia.
Sorry. Okay, so just a couple of things. I'm going to go backtrack a little bit. So Candace Schaefer says, I massage the neck and foot point on my kitty every day thanks to Jill.
Thank you, Candace.
Rhonda Gay says she's watching. Hi, Rhonda.
Rhonda.
And Lorraine Bollinger says, has anyone else noticed that all three ladies are wearing the same color? Yes, we did.
Yeah.
We did not
We
plan
talked about it. Yeah, we did not plan it.
And I do want to say, just as having witnessed the two of you teaching filming you guys doing the class, watching a class with Jill and Joan, or any kind of talk with Jill and Joan, because I also have seen you guys present on the hemp, is a lot of fun. So don't miss out on it. I'm telling you, it is a lot of fun. So, okay.
We do. So I would love if anybody has any questions for Jill about what a session would look like, or anything about meridians or acupressure or acupuncture or anything like that. I'd love to open up the floor. And meanwhile, but while we're opening that up, Claudia, can you present the book again for the book club?
Yes. Oh, it's right in front of me. Sorry.
Beautiful Jim Key by Mim Iker.
This is going to be our next book club, which will be May. What was the date again? May 23rd. May 20. No, sorry. Wrong date. We should know this. May 21st.
May 21st.
We have a question.
Okay.
From Cindy Gans Turner. Do you have to be a vet to learn acupuncture? That's a really good question.
So every state is different. Puncture is with the needles. So I'm an acupuncturist, a veterinary acupuncturist. I'm not supposed to puncture people. However, I do have like a boyfriend and a friend and some relatives that I have been known to not acupuncture. It's a law thing and a lawyer, and it depends on what your state is. So in my state, you have to be a veterinarian to do acupuncture, and that's basically so that you can get paid for your services. Where your comfort level is and what your knowledge is, and what you want to do with that really depends. And that's probably a deeper discussion that we can get into right now. I hope that helps.
But what if, okay, well, she lives in Texas. What is it like in Texas?
In Texas, you have to be a veterinarian to do acupuncture on animals.
Could you be
in California, you can be an acupuncturist, a human acupuncturist, and do acupuncture on animals, but you have to have a veterinarian assist you, or you have to have a veterinary patient-client relationship.
Okay.
And that's why teaching the acupressure is the next best thing. So anyone can do acupressure. I mean, you can do that with your hands. You can even buy one of those cheaper lasers that are cold lasers. And when you know where the points are and what you're using them, you can do a lot of acupuncture-like things without puncturing the skin.
Right.
You can stimulate those acupressure points.
Yeah, and that's the thing, is that it's still pretty powerful to work on the acupressure points, once you know where they are. I studied acupressure in the 90s with tall grass, and I did horse and then dog, and it was very confusing. So I'm excited about the class we're offering, because it's going to be very simple and straightforward.
Okay, we have a question from Lorraine Bollinger. What do you know about photobiomodulation, photopuncture?
That is something that I did work with, and I can't recall all of it, but a lot of it does have to do with light and light sensation, and I use my laser for that. I'd have to look up specifically because I don't remember off the top of my head.
Okay. So while we're waiting for more questions, I would like to say that thanks to learning about cold laser from Jill and Joan and listening to you guys, my cat was having issues. And when I went to the vet, we were talking and he was telling me about her kidneys and this and that. And then he says, well, put her on medication. I go, what about cold laser? And he literally went, they offer that. He goes, oh my God, I forgot it works for that. I wouldn't have brought that up if I hadn't learned from you, Jill. So I need to bring that up because that's one of the things that really helped Lakshmi. So thank you.
Oh, it's amazing. And so many vets have it in their office, but they forget to use it for other things because they're just using it for arthritis. And then when it comes to kidneys, it's like, oh yeah, we can do it for kidneys. You know, I was in that mindset for a long time too, because I'm so busy practicing and doing 20 million things a day that when I think about kidneys, I think CD. I don't anymore, but you think CD, diet, you think all of these things. And it's like, what about some of your energy modalities? Because your energy modalities, not only do they help and heal, but it's not a patch like a lot of the Western medicine things where you're just kind of putting a little patch on it. You're actually healing the body, the entire body.
Right. That's the thing is all these modalities are looking at the whole, and that's why it's holistic medicine. I mean, we've got to look at the whole body, and especially right now, you know, the biggest thing with things like COVID and these other, you know, offshoots of it, we've got to be building the immune system, and we have to be looking at the whole body all the time.
Yeah,
anyone else?
Not just with COVID, but with cancer. I mean, we're seeing so many cancers in animals and humans, and a lot of that goes back to stagnations. You know, there's actually research that shows that there's certain, especially something like pancreatic cancer, where there's been a stagnation there and it built up. And by opening all of those neuroelectric pathways, those things up so that they don't become stagnated. Once you do have a stagnation, once you do have a cancer, then it's helping with the inflammation around that so that it's not painful and so that it doesn't grow and it doesn't grow as fast. And no, it doesn't cure cancer. There are claims that some can, and there are claims that there's a lot of energy medicine that can too. But what I can do is help open the aura so that the body can heal and so that you're happy and healthy and the rest of your body doesn't go downhill even because one area isn't working as well as the other.
Okay, so we have a lot of comments and questions. Oh, there's a feedback. Okay, here. Bonnie Park says she loves cold laser for animals and it has really helped her and her fur babies. John Marie Peterson wants to know, where is the kidney point for kitties?
There's several kidney points for kitties. Whenever our anatomy comes out, we'll show you on the anatomy, but it's right over the kidneys in the back. So you can do some massage there, but you know, join one of our classes or come on with a consult and I can show you lots of different points. Because the meridian, there's a kidney meridian and there's many points on the kidney meridian, not just one.
Okay,
maybe can I ask a question? Why I wanted to, what we forgot to go into a little bit more is why hemp is so powerfully healing.
You just clicked out again and I didn't hear the end of that sentence.
Why is hemp so powerful in healing?
So that all goes back to the endocannabinoid system, which when I went to vet school, nobody taught that. It was, you know, on the DL because of all the politics that were involved with that at the time, which I won't go into my big deal about because that just kind of makes me not very happy with politics in my education. But hemp actually helps to heal the endocannabinoid system. And the endocannabinoid system is similar to a combination of the central nervous system and the endocrine system. So it's the electricity of the nerves as well, or the conduction of the electricity of the nerves, as well as the hormones that communicate between the thyroid, and the adrenal glands and all of your organs, especially your endocrine organs. So as we get older, we have normal stresses. If there's an injury, there's lots of stresses. And hemp actually helps to replenish those voids in the endocannabinoid system. There are other vegetables and fruits and things that you can eat that do have the same thing in, but hemp is the product by far that has the largest amount of cannabinoids in it that can replenish those areas that are stressed and left deplenished.
And so basically what was discovered in the 70s is that our body, mammals, and we think even birds, have receptor sites for CBD, for the cannabinoids.
Every mammalian cell has endocannabinoid receptors in it. Every single cell in the mammalian body, which is amazing to me. I never knew that.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And
so
really, ready.
Say that again.
What's that?
No, I have a question too after you ask yours.
Okay. So then hemp has the ability to really heal things like inflammation and
there's
anxiety.
So many things, and unfortunately, as a veterinarian, I can't say that hemp heals, but what I can say is that there are many NHI studies that were done in other countries, i.e. not the United States of America, that does show that hemp helps with many different things going, especially mental disease. It amazed me the different things as far as mental disease, specifically anxiety, schizophrenia. I mean, some pretty out there types of mental diseases, in addition to issues with your spleen and your liver. So when you look at this wonderful picture that we've gotten, I'm sorry, this isn't our picture, but it's a great picture of the endocannabinoid system. And it has all the lit up organs. And you can see up front in the heart, all down the central nervous system, where the endocannabinoid system is and the communication amongst the body between that. So having hemp, I mean, yes, we sell hemp or hemp treats, and basically touted to be used for inflammation and pain. But I truly believe in what I do for myself and my animals is we live on it. And it's basically more of a supplementation. I can't say that as a vet because that's illegal, but that's how I use it, as a supplement.
Weird that you just said it.
That must have been my alter ego sister. She said it.
So I have a question piggybacking on that. And Susan Rhodes has a question that I think will come with that too, is there's so many hemp products on the market, right? And I've heard, now I know better, but I've heard arguments that it has to have some, THC is okay. I know for a fact it's not with animals, for personal experience. But so what would you recommend to someone who comes to you and says, what should I look for in a hemp product, in a CBD product? And Susan Rhodes just asked, what's the difference between hemp and CBD oils? So,
and what I would say that you should look for in a hemp product is the name Jill and Joan on the label.
Yeah, it's a name you can trust. You have to have a name you can trust, because even some of these big have been selling hemp products or CBD products. And basically CBD was the old name. Since the Farm Act passed, it now has to be called hemp. So it's the same thing, just different name. But having a label that you can trust that gets you what you want, because this is a product that comes from the fields. Crops differ. They have droughts. They have famines, they have toxins, they have their neighbor putting toxins on them. So we are very specific, which is why we've had to do this remodel and reorg, because we didn't like the sources that we had before. They weren't very ethical. We weren't happy and didn't feel that we knew completely where they were coming from. Now we know exactly where everything's coming from. Our new oils and our new salves, we are going to be seed to store. So we're going to know the seed, we're going to know the soil, we're going to know the people who are planting the seed, the whole farm business. Because I did botany, I did agronomy. I think not only knowing where it came from and how it's grown, but how it's handled, and the love and care that it's handled with as well. You know, not Joe Schmo out there just breaking the leaves. They're handing it gently, because it's the whole plant, including the root and the leaves and the flower. I mean, this is all about botany. It's so much more complicated than people understand. And I'm just beginning to learn a lot of it.
And also,
But what's cool, it brings you back to your origins because you have a degree in botany.
I have a degree in biological science, which botany was part of it.
Yeah. And then I know that the two of you are also in the processing of from seed to in between. There's different ways of processing hemp, and there's in the different ways. There's also what the quality is, and from experience, I know the two of you are sticklers for. You want the highest quality, the best extraction, the least harm to the product. So. Exactly. Those you want to look for in a product, which this honestly, it's the only reason I am waiting for Jill and Joan Hemp to come out again, because that's the only stuff I've helped everybody in my household has been on it. So anyway, back to you.
And I have it in my garage. We're just waiting for the website, the payment processor, some labels, and some bags. So we are ready. We should be up and going by end of this week at the latest.
And that was Bonnie Parks' question, is when is the Jill and Joan Hemp available? So it's
hopefully by the end of the week or the beginning of next week. Mm-hmm. So it's just trying to get everything perfect, because the laws for the payment processor, anything that has to do with hemp or CBD, is just so complicated. It's very political.
And you know what? Going back to someone's question about what is the difference between hemp and CBD, is hemp is really the whole plant or the crop. It's the whole thing. And the extract is CBD, but now we have to legally call everything a hemp extract.
Right, but it's not just the CBD that's in there that makes it bioavailable and absorptive. I always tell people, if you take turmeric, if you're not taking it with black pepper, you're not absorbing it. If you take CBD and you don't have your terpenes and you don't have other parts of the plant in there, you're not absorbing it to its maximum capacity, and it's not being used in the body the way it should. So it's very similar to other herbs. I mean, hemp is a herb. How it's absorbed, how it's processed, the plant that it comes from. I mean, in this day and age, it's amazing what they're finding from the hemp plant, and not to go off the subject, but I'm going to go off the subject a little bit because I always do. The THC in the hemp now, Australia, a friend of mine is developing, and he, along with other people, specific THC that is the biogenome, blah, 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 for this specific type of breast cancer. So it's so specific now. It's not just breast cancer, but it's which type of breast cancer. Well, it's not just this hemp plant. It's which type of hemp plant. I mean, they are genetically getting so specific, and it makes a difference. It makes a huge difference.
Okay, so we have 2 questions. Lorraine wants to know, is pre-ordering available?
Not quite yet, but you will be the first to know, because I'll say it in the Facebook group for the school. And I'm going to run out as soon as that happens. So, but we need our payment processor.
And Jana Marie Peterson says, so you're only using the hemp type plant?
Yes, because we want the maximum amount of CBD with no THC. Yes, industrialized hemp plants only.
Okay, ladies,
okay.
We've got a few minutes left, and we have to teach class at 11. So,
my school goes. So Thank you, Jill. This was really
Can I
fun.
show you a hemp example on one of my dogs real quick?
Yeah, wait 1 second.
PTSD cured.
Hooray!
Hi, Bixie.
Hi, Vixie. Okay, so I just wanted to remind people that tomorrow is the Animal Communication Level 1. We start, there's an 11 a.m. or 5 p.m. class, so if it's something you want to do, please join us. It's really fun. Claudia is one of the teachers. I'm one of the teachers. We have some other great teachers. Also, in May 28th, we have Energy Healing for Animals, Level 1 starting, so you could really get good at doing scripts and learn about how to create your own EFT healing opportunities. And then and also the scalar wave and chakra stuff. So there's all kinds of cool stuff with that. And then we have, let's see, animal communication, death dying, intro to death dying beyond in June. And in July, we have the finding lost animals through animal communication. I'm like brain dead today. Anyway, we have a lot of fun stuff. We also have the energetic anatomy, a digital class coming out with Jill and Joan. And I have a chakra class coming out. I've been waiting forever for this. So really great stuff coming out. And of course, Jill and Joan hemp extract. So thank you, Jill. I think this has been really fun. I think people learned a lot. And we'll see everyone next week. Bye.
And really quick to answer, I have a Facebook user asking about tomorrow's class. If you have any questions about the class tomorrow, please email customercare@joanranquet.com. And I'll be happy to help you with that. Okay. Bye, everybody.
Bye.